Welcome to Sports Buds Hockey Podcast, where two friends come together to discuss all things hockey and where everyone's opinion is appreciated. Please welcome your hosts, Merrick Zemp and Collin Simpson.
Hello and welcome to Sports Buds Hockey Podcast, episode 59. My name is Merrick Zemp, and with me, as always, my buddy Collin Simpson. How you doing tonight, Simps?
Doing good, Matt. Doing good. I know not quite as good as you, but we'll get right into that.
Oh, it is a good day. It is a good day. This is just a special episode. We just wanted to throw one out here for it. Today, October 6th, 2025, we've got Connor McDavid re-signing for 2 more years after this one at the very, very team-friendly deal of continuing with his $12.5 million salary. A lot of speculation, a lot of up and down feelings over the summer, whether or not this was going to happen. Obviously, everybody, Toronto and everywhere else, was deciding what McDavid's future looked like outside of Edmonton, assuming he was leaving. Oh, he's guaranteed to leave. He's never going to sign. He knows they can't win. A lot of naysayers, a lot of everything. So it was really good to get pen to paper before the season started, get that out of the way, make everybody happy. And at a 12.5 number is pretty much amazing. So, Simps, what do you think as a Flames fan? I'm sure this was one of the last things you wanted to see, but I think it's good for the Oilers for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, from our perspective, obviously you don't want to see a rival get better at any given time, but I think it was good for hockey. It's good from a Flames fan perspective of the fact that, Edmonton comes and plays us in our division quite a bit, just like I'd wished many, many times when I was younger that Sidney Crosby would make his way over to Calgary more often. Any hockey fan wants to see the greats play. So I think that really helps out, gets more excitement in the dome in those games. Yeah, we're not in the same area of rivalry in the sense of like where we're sitting in the standings and stuff like that. But, having a guy like that does bring out the people. And so I think, and at that cap hit, obviously that's an amazing cap. It's definitely a home team friendly cap hit. He could have got whatever he wanted. He's decided that he wanted to leave them some space for the next couple of years to have a chance to build up some more players. So there's no excuses, right? He's laying it on to the management and saying, listen, there's no excuses not to give me a team to win here. I'm giving you the chance. And he's given him a small window, 2 years, right? We all kind of expected that, not just because of the cap. I don't think it was just, some people will say, well, he's only doing 2 years because he can make more money. Like, well, that's clearly not the case. The 2 year thing is not to do with money. He could have just took the money now. Kaprizov got $17 million. He could have took the money now. Could have took 20.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's nothing to do with that. 2 years is based strictly on the fact that he is thinking about moving on, keeping his options at least of moving on, right? He's not closing the door to that, but he's coming out and saying, I'm only going to give you 2 years, but I'm going to give you every single dollar I can give you to make it happen the next 2 years. And he's not wrong. That window is probably about what that is, looking at the age of the team and where they're at. And then we talked earlier about, do these youngsters, are they going to be good enough? Because he's not going to be able to wait 5 years for them to be good enough. They've got to come in swinging. They got to be able to pick up real quick by playing with McDavid and playing with Draisaitl and come out the door running. And he's going to know that in the next 1 or 2 years, and they'll take their shot. And then he's going to move on. He'll either have a cup with Edmonton and then walk away and go just to a new chapter in his life. It has nothing to do with people who be like, well, you won there. Why can't you win more there? Yeah, fair enough. But there's more to life than just hockey and winning the Stanley Cup. There's experiences in life. Living in different locations. We all know people who've grown up, hardly any of us live in the same place we were before. So there's more to life than that. Just different experiences for you, your family, and he's still going to get to play hockey, and he's still going to have chances to win Stanley Cup. So it's not like he's going to go to a dead team after the fact and go, well, they'll never get a chance to win. But he may stay. You just don't know. I just don't see, if he was going to stay, I don't think he'd do the 2 year thing. Because
I do for the exact reason that you're saying. The reason why he does 2 years is to make sure that in 2 years they are headed towards competitive hockey. Right?
But that's my point. If they're not, why would he stay?
No, that's what I mean. But you're saying that he could stay, but why would he? I'm saying if they're competitive, you're still going to have in 2 years, you're going to have a 30-year-old Draisaitl. You're not going to be a bad team. But Ekholm will be a couple years older.
No, but there'll be other good teams.
Nugent Hopkins will be older.
Why don't you go play for them?
Possibly.
He chooses his team. This is different.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
This is one guy who gets to choose his team when it comes up. So there's no points to either they weren't good enough to win a cup with him, or he did what he said he would do, brought a cup back to Edmonton, and now it's time for him to move on. And that's what the 2 years about, because it's the only other reason would have been money and cap hit. And that's clearly not the case. So he's left himself the opportunity. And I was never say never. You never know. Like I said before, it's not all about hockey. You could have something else in your life, or like your wife really loves to stay there, or you found your new best friend, or there's just too much stuff that can happen that will dictate where he is next.
Mhm.
He's just keeping that door open and saying, listen, I don't
Yep.
want to have to, you know, as we talked about before, I don't want to put myself in a situation where I want to go elsewhere, but someone has to fit a trade in somehow. They've got to somehow lose half their assets to get me, whereas I can go to that team and they can keep everything except cap space. Right? That's just going to disappear. But like, it's an
It's
amazing
hard
thing
to
for the
say.
Oilers.
Oh, it is. I don't know what he's going to do. There's a lot of talk today about whether or not he wants to be the next Sidney Crosby. And with that being right now, where Sid, there's all kinds of trade talk. There's all kinds of stuff around him because the Pittsburgh Penguins are not a winning team. They're not a playoff team. They're not a competing team. They're nothing, right? So there's almost zero chance that even if Sid had the best season of his career, that he could will them even into the playoffs, never mind through 4 rounds. So with that being said, does he give up his I'm a Penguin for life legacy? Or does he keep going with the team and not get a trade, not demand a trade, but not even accept a trade if they come to him with one, and stay a Pittsburgh Penguin for life and retire and just know that the next few years are just going to be, this is it. He's just playing for stats, playing to just go to the sold out parks or sold out buildings that want to see him. But, there isn't really any competitive fire or competitive hockey left for him. And I think, McDavid is the same way at this point. He's entirely focused on winning a cup, and that's it. It's about winning for him, maybe a gold medal, but other than that, it's about winning a cup, and that's it. So he's proven that with the 12.5, like he said. Now it's time for management to do everything they can do to make sure that they do win a cup there and that they get the team in front of him and around him. And then, after a couple of years, you look at Stan Bowman, he's got a history, right? Chicago won the cup in 2010, got rid of half their guys, kept their core, changed everybody out, won again in 2013. Didn't win in 2014, changed out a bunch of guys, won again in 2015. So they have that ability. He has that ability to turn pieces over and to turn them into something else. So I think that's part of it as well. And I think McDavid will be involved in that process the whole way. One of the things that Bowman talked about today was about the dialogue. It wasn't so much a contract negotiation. It's just a dialogue. Where are we going to be in 2 years? What else are you going to do for me? If I do this for you, what does that open up for you? Well, that allows us to increase our free agency pool by, $4.5 million over the next 2 years. And then if the cap's going up by this much, that means we're going to come out of this season. Here's where our numbers look like. We'll have $28 million to spend on 6 players or whatever, like all those kind of conversations. But I think you're going to see the same thing in 2 years.
But I think with that, which is obviously what we're seeing the play is to try to give themselves free agency money. That's it. But the problem is, in order to get guys in free agency who, when you're going for it, they're going to be old guys, right? You're not getting any young superstars in free agency at that age. You're going to get a lot of guys who are older, who are maybe going to want more money that you maybe couldn't squeeze 2 or 3 of them under the cap.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think then it numbers his years there. It's kind of a catch-22. Like, you're trying to do that, but at the same time, you're going to make yourself older, knowing that, okay, your window is shrinking a little, even smaller because of the age. And there won't be a longevity. That's why I don't see the long-term 6-7 years coming after it either. Because to do this, to go for that cup, you're going to have to sell everything and go for it. And if you do that and you miss or hit it, even if you hit it, the chances of continuing on the next year with another one, because you've had to kind of burn all that cap space into some older players that either will disappear because just you can't keep them, or just got older, so you're not going to win cups anymore. Other teams younger. But the fact is he's made it a put up or shut up to the team.
And management, like to the team and the players.
Yeah, and it looks to anybody else who's coming up on contracts the next couple of years, right? So this is where I was going to say too is the only other person I know as happy as Oilers fans today right now, and he should be thanking McDavid, is Kaprizov. If McDavid does this 2 weeks earlier, what does Kaprizov get? Go to arbitration.
Oh, he can't even. He'd be UFA.
I'm saying though, but what do you have to stand on? Like before, don't get me wrong, he still was high for what he was, but that guy's got to be thinking, I just made $4 million more a year thanks to Connor holding on. And Jack Eichel is the opposite, going, are you kidding me? we came in around the same time. You're just about to screw me completely over. If Kaprizov got that and McDavid went 20, Jack Eichel's going, okay,
Oh, I'll get
I'm
15, 16
14,
for
15
sure.
for sure. Right
Yeah.
now he's going 12.
How would I ask for 12? Yeah, but Marner's getting 12. On Vegas, Marner's getting 12.
That's
So
what
I
I'm saying.
think
The 12 will be the number is my
you'll
point.
still get that number, but yeah.
Because he's going to say, you can't use a guy with cap friendly. Otherwise, you could compare yourself to Sid every year. And so here's my second point. We were talking earlier today, and I said, yeah, you know what? Best contract in hockey and maybe the best contract in sports. And then I actually did a bit of digging, and it's still probably leaning towards it, but I don't know if it is still. Like, this kind of goes about the longevity of Sid.
Mm-hmm.
I did the math, and Connor gets paid $125,000 a point is what he gets in this contract. Sidney Crosby still only gets paid $95,000 a point. So $30,000 less per point to have Sidney Crosby on your team, who had 9 less points than Connor last year.
Yeah.
And he's won multiple cups. So it just goes to show how crazy Sid's contract really is. Now, the difference is different times of their career. Getting someone in at a lower amount at 38 is very different than getting someone higher in their prime. And he could demand it more. And don't get me wrong, Sid could demand more, but he couldn't demand as much. But it just goes to show, like, I just sometimes forget how good, because I keep thinking about Sidney dropping off.
Yeah.
And Connor's still in his prime, and you're still seeing him do these 100 points.
Sid set the record last year for his 20th season of point per game. Yeah. Gretzky did it 19 years, but Sid did it now 20.
Yeah, I looked at his last 3 years, 94, 93, and 91.
Like, he hasn't, ever since his concussion troubles in 2012, 2014, whatever it was back then. Ever since then, he's hardly missed a game. He's hardly missed time, and he's been point a game every single season of his career.
On a team that can't make the playoffs.
Well, for the last 3 straight, I don't think they made a playoffs.
3 years.
And since they won the cup in 2017, I think they maybe a second round appearance. Other than that, a few first round losses, and then out of the playoffs altogether.
So here's where we look at Connor's contract and go, if we were to use the blueprint of Sidney Crosby, because he's, other than going back to the day of Paul Correa and his $1 million thing, there hasn't been a lot of team-friendly deals. People talk about team-friendly, but when they say team-friendly, they're Nathan McKinnon and stuff like that, where they shave like $1 million, $1.5 million off, not $4 to $5 million off.
Well, that's the thing. They talk about McDavid being offered when he signed the 12.5, that the max at that point was 14 or something, and they were coming in around 13 and change, 13 and a quarter or something like that. And he said, no, let's go back to 12.5, make it 8 years, 100 even, and like shaved a bit off at that point. And that was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you think about the math of that, right? And just
when it does go, he's kind of falling, like I was going to talk about there, the Sidney blueprint, right? Sid did the same thing. He's like, well, I took what I took then, and years later I took the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's more or less what Connor's done again. He's like, I took my 12.5 and I'll take another 12.5 for a couple more years and see how this plays out. Now, there's 2 flip sides to that story. When you're looking at the blueprint, though, you've got back when Sidney did sign like one of his older 8.7s, and then they kind of went on to win cups. And you could look at it and say, was that a lot because he took a huge discount? Were we able to afford to keep some players, get some players, etc.? But then we look at it again and go, we did it again a couple of years ago, 8.7, given a team-friendly deal, and they can't make the playoffs. So it comes down to like,
it's still management,
that, but there's still no guarantee just because you drop a bunch of money that you're going to go and win a Stanley Cup. So it's a big risk from the player to give up millions of dollars. I know people say, well, you're so rich anyways. No one's giving up $8 million. I don't care how rich you are. You're not just saying, I don't need $8 million. So it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, but his taxes, Simps. He's really only out like 50, 60 grand.
Yeah. Canadian taxes is true.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting to see. Obviously, it's the big story that we've all been waiting for. It's the big distraction more of anything for the Oilers to get that off.
When he talked about going into the season, it wouldn't be a distraction, everything else. There's no way. Every city he went to, every reporter he saw, everybody would have asked, and they would have asked every teammate, what do you think? Is Connor going to sign? Is he staying? Is he going to go in? And realistically, the team has to look to move him, right? If that's the case.
Yeah.
And so, it would have been a horrible distraction on the year. I think this starts it on the right note. and it moves it forward. You got a couple other guys signed: Frederick, Podkolzin, Waldman signed today. You're really moving forward with a good team. Obviously, Bouchard, Draisaitl, all those guys too. So, it's a huge day for him. I really like the Sidney comparisons because that is, I think, exactly where he's going, and I think he's really learned from that. Where Sid has been entirely team committed. So far, everything we've seen says that McDavid's the same, and he is team committed, and he wants to be here, and he wants to be in Edmonton, and all of that. But at the same time, I mean, you got to look at Sid and go, this is a cautionary tale. Like, you're looking at that going, I don't want to sign for 8 years right now, knowing that the last 4, we're going back to the decade of darkness, and we can barely make the playoffs.
Correct.
And because you look at it, it's hard not to compare Sidney and Malkin at 38 and 39 years old.
That's your best comparison for a long time.
With Connor and Draisaitl, right? Like, there they are.
Skill-wise.
Like, 2 guys that both could lead the league, both could lead for scoring. Like,
close in age.
Yeah, like a year apart, like everything. They're literally the same thing. So looking at that same situation going, as an Edmonton fan, I'd love for both of them to retire there with 2, 3, 5 cups in their pocket. And, it's been a great decade. But at the same time, I can understand why looking at Sid, you're like, I don't know if I want to go 8 right out the gate.
So what do you think this, I obviously they've talked about it, and I don't think there's like a story to be in there of the unhappiness, but do you think Leon must think to himself a little, I feel a little maybe long on mine?
Well, I'm sure there's at least a little bit of that, but I think at the same time, I truly believe, like, I was sure that he would sign. I was just waiting for a reason why he hadn't. And I really feel that he will plan on retiring as an Edmonton Oiler. I think that will 100% be his plan. Win some cups, everything else. He may go the Ray Bourque route and want to chase another cup at the end and that kind of thing, even if he's won a couple in Edmonton.
But I don't know if that's the Ray Bourque route, because Ray Bourque was much older.
No, he was right at the end. Yeah, no,
so
but guys seem to chase a little bit more lately.
7 full years of great hockey after this contract even ends.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of like not mid-career, but maybe 60% of the way through his career he's leaving. So I think it's a little less of, because the Bourque one was like, okay, I'll leave at the end and I'm only chasing a cup at the last.
It was trade deadline. They didn't win it, so he played one more year. And I
could see Connor going to a team though that could have 3 or 4 years needed to get back to a cup, but as long as they have the pieces that looks like the future has it, like you said, so you don't get in a downturn. You want to step back into another team when they're already on the swing up. You know what I mean? So they're not quite there yet, but they're on their way there. You come in and help complete that.
If he does short deals, if he ends up leaving the Oilers at some point, I think he's probably one more 2 or 3 year kind of deal in Edmonton, because I think the window is still going to be there. I think they'll still be a really good team in 3 more years. I think they'll still be a very solid contender for sure. Depending, knowing that Bowman can do it, it's all going to depend on how he retools. Because 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I think Ekholm's gone. Nugent Hopkins is 34, I think, right now. He might be getting close. But you're seeing some of the stuff they're doing, right? The Podkolzin, is he going to get better and be a top player? I don't know. Maybe a middle 6. You're looking at Frederick. Is that a guy that can move up the lineup and be there? I don't know. But if you lose $5 million for Nugent Hopkins and you got some extra money, now you got a $7-8 million guy you're bringing in. That's possible. Now you're looking at some guys that could be those wingers, be those guys, right? You're not going to get a Marner, but there's a lot of guys you could get. So I think how they retool over the next couple of years, if they find some of these guys, the waiver guys, the Wallmans at 29 instead of 35, like you said, older is okay when they're still in that window, but you'd be nice to get some 25-year-olds. Be nice to get some guys that are still coming in and getting better.
And I'm wondering if he doesn't want that. I don't know. I think, does he just want 28s? Because, again, we don't know. If he wants out in 2 years, then 25 is not good enough.
Well, yeah. No, but if you can get a 25-year-old third pairing D-man that will be a second pairing guy in 2 years, that would be the goal, right? That's always the goal.
Who replaces your first? And this is the problem. No offense to Podkolzin and the other guy, Frederick, you said, in no world are they top 6 players on a Stanley Cup team. They're third line, fourth line. If they're in the top 6, you're not winning the cup. There's no way. There's no person, no analyst on this planet that's not in Edmonton that would ever say those guys in your top 6 and you're winning a Stanley Cup.
Well, no guarantees. But you look at some of the guys that have been in those groups, right?
Unless you've got like guys like McDavid and Draisaitl playing together with a second line of Malkin and Crosby, and then you put those 2 guys in there. That's not if I'm Connor McDavid and you're telling me those are in my top 6, I'm gone.
Tell me the top 6. Name the top 6 for the Florida Panthers the last 2 years.
They can switch it. There's not one player in the top 12 that isn't better than Frederick and put goals in.
Well, that's possible. Frederick, maybe.
There's not one player. I can't think of one guy on that Florida team that's not better than both.
You can't think of one guy on that Florida team, period.
I can think of tons of them. There's tons.
You keep not naming them, though, Simpson. I'm challenging you. You're still not naming them.
Reinhart, Bennett, Kachuk, Barkov. They're just Marchand. Tell me one of these guys that isn't 5 times better than both those guys.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock. These guys, they have a role. I think they fit their role really well.
Yeah.
But if I'm Connor McDavid and that's what you're showing me, we're talking about this whole thing on this contract in the sense of it's a 2-year, show me, put up or shut up. And if you're telling me that's what you're putting on my lines, I'm gone. Right? And I think that's why I think you will see some major changes. Why would I leave $7 million on the table for you to not make changes and push those guys down the lineup?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm saying get rid of them. Great third and fourth liners, but they better be down the lineup. If I'm Leon and that, and hey, we talked before. I like Mangiapane, but if you can get me something more, I gave you $7 million.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can't tell me you're going to give me Andrew Mangiapane, who had one good year in Calgary and has been kind of tanked since, and say, yeah, I'll do that. Give me that guy and put $7 million in your own pocket, owner? No, it's not going to happen. So there must have been some conversations in which, okay, we are still going to splash in either free agency now or come trade deadline or
that's
whatever
the thing.
It is.
So now you can look at guys with term.
Yeah.
Right? Knowing where you're going to sit.
Flexibility is definitely there.
They pretty much have it laid out. They're almost everybody. Right? Most of their guys now are signed, kind of like Florida's done, right? Where most of your guys are signed for the next few years. So they got the next 2 or 3 years where even your Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, all those guys are signed. Your D-men are signed. Everybody's there. You've got some free agents. You've got like Skinner, Pickard, and whatever. But you've got everybody else somewhat signed. So picking up a guy at the deadline, picking up a couple guys at the deadline with 2 years left, you know that you can fit them in the cap. You know you can fit them where you need to be, and you can go from there. So
especially with the rule change.
Yeah.
Where you need to be a little more cap compliant. So there's going to be a lot of teams that can't pull that trickery off, and you all of a sudden got this flexibility and go any injuries, guys like Hyman get injured like last year. Well, how much did that hurt them? Well, what if they had another guy?
Yeah.
They could have stepped into his role and picked up a 20, 25 goal guy out of nowhere, hit, through the body a little bit. That's going to help them that flexibility. And I think that's where they're thinking with that money is. I don't think you're going to see anything like tomorrow and go, okay, we've got all this money now. Let's just blow it. No, it's going to be like, okay, how do we tweak?
They don't have much for this year. It goes up by 9 for next year, right?
Correct.
Maybe more, but they don't have a lot for this year. So it's really going to be free agency and everything else.
Into any of these playoffs.
So for sure.
2 or 3 years. It's just that flexibility to go, what can we actually do? And not just be hamstrung and go, okay, this is what we have. Anybody goes down, which is, again, the Hyman thing. If anybody good goes down, what do we replace him with? We just don't have a guy, anybody. Now, we're not talking about saying if Leon goes down or Connor goes down, who do you replace him? You can't. They're irreplaceable.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of these other secondary guys, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, these secondary guys that you need another one to be able to step forward, who was now maybe playing third line minutes, but easily could be a second liner.
Yeah.
But he's only there just because you got to mix it up a little, switch some lines up a little. But someone who needs to be like, okay, now you need to step up. And that's what's going to help them. So I know it'll be pretty interesting. I think it's a huge move for the Oilers. I think not even just from the excitement of it, but I think from a business perspective and from a team management perspective, I think it ups their chances of obviously winning a cup over the next couple of years. Obviously, like you said, there isn't much change for this year, but for me, it's just even the excitement of it. That alone gives you a lift.
Oh
right?
yeah.
It doesn't feel good to think as you're going into a season whether your superstar is going to be there or not, because these other guys also signed for contracts for 4 or 5 years and go, I signed based on Connor McDavid being here.
Yeah, I'm here to win.
You know what I mean? Like the last thing
Yeah.
you want to see is go, okay, so we're just rebuilding. I just signed. So then where's it's
Well,
harder to get up to the
here's a
games then.
question though for you. Like obviously, if McDavid decided to go somewhere else, especially in the West or anywhere in the league, really, he decides to sign somewhere else. So it's not even like they're getting assets back or whatever. You take McDavid off this team, even with Draisaitl, Hyman, Nugent Hopkins, Bouchard on the back end, all that kind of stuff. I think this is still a playoff team and still a half decent team. With that cap money, in theory, you would then be free to sign someone else. If you're losing that guy, you're getting a Marner. If you're losing that guy, you're trying to do that sort of replacement and one in, one out. Or like you said, you're looking for some big name secondary scoring guys. You maybe not signing the next McKinnon, but you're signing somebody else, right?
Oh yeah, this,
And
this team doesn't this team doesn't fall off, in
like
my opinion. If Connor leaves, this team does not fall off. Do they more guaranteed to be in the top 4 at the final, like in the semifinals at the latest? No, they're not going
no,
to be
I
that
would think so.
guarantee, but they're definitely going to be a team that'll be competing, especially in the shitty Pacific.
Yeah,
Like they'll definitely be a good team. They've still got tons of pieces. They got secondary scoring. They've got still a superstar in Leon Draisaitl, who's still in the top 2 or 3 players in the league. It's
yeah,
not like it's just Connor there and he goes away.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but it can drop off quickly. I watched it happen in Calgary. When one goes, they all can kind of go like dominoes. So you have to be aware that yes, you could say, well, we still got Leon and but do you have Leon? He can ask for a trade at any time.
Yep.
We're all talking about how he's his best friend, and if he goes, why would he stay? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, this is not me just being in Calgary. I've been to Edmonton millions of times. I don't really like it there, and it had nothing to do with me being in Calgary because I didn't really like it when I lived in BC. But I'm just saying, from a hockey player's perspective, who has millions of dollars and can live damn near anywhere he wants to and play anywhere he wants to, it's a hard sell to not do it with Connor McDavid there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, we'll see. We got 2 years though, guaranteed, before he's got to go through this
It's
again.
exciting. It's awesome. It was a great deal and a great day for Edmonton. It's nice to just put all the naysayers away. Stop hearing the noise. Stop asking the question. I was 100% confident he would sign, but that percentage maybe wasn't quite at 100 anymore. It's starting to come down a little bit
Well,
more
yeah,
and a little bit more.
nobody was 100% sure at this point, but
You just
so that's the big news of the week. Obviously, second biggest news I could think of is the SCS hockey has started for the Xbox for my season. So I'll give a shout out to the Wranglers. We got our first games this week. Hopefully we can get a little bit of a Connor McDavid action from our players out there and can start out the league correctly this year.
And what are you playing out there, Simps?
Right wing. I do a little right wing in front of them.
Like a little bit of right wing. Yeah. Big enforcer, are you? Or are you more of a sniper these
playmaker.
days?
Playmaker. I've been a well-known playmaker for years in this leagues. I don't know. I can't seem to get myself to shoot. I should shoot, but I never do.
I've played with you for many years. Overpassing has always been an issue.
Yes, I think we both ran into that for many years. So just to let people know, our love of hockey hasn't just been just on TV and stuff like that. We've also, me and Merrick have gone way, way back playing a little bit of NHL through the years, and we've been able to take the excitement of what we wish we could do in real life when what we watch on TV. We play out the fantasy and obviously online sports and stuff like that. So we love the game in every different way, and I've been lucky enough to continue on, and with all the new mediums to play online, it allows me to still get that bit of fix since I'm too old to play any real hockey anymore. So it's a good time and a bunch of good guys I'm playing with. So I'm pretty excited this week.
Well, shout out to the Wranglers. Good on them. I know how it is playing with Simpson, so it's a challenge for anyone. He can be the Evander Kane of any dressing room, so that's always a challenge. So good on them for taking you on, Simpson, and hopefully they enjoyed the podcast. Hopefully there's at least a couple of Edmonton fans in there.
Sounds good.
All right, I want to thank everybody for listening. This special episode, just wanted to make sure and get it in. We're a couple days from puck drop on the season opener, which is, of course, the Edmonton Oilers with the Calgary Flames bombing into town to Edmonton to see if they can take the first 2 points of the year. So we'll be there. We're going to watch that one, and we'll do a good recap of it for you guys as well. So thank you guys for listening. Thanks for listening to this special episode. And don't forget, you can find us at sportsbuds.com. That's sportsbudz.com. We're on all your favorite podcast sources, Spotify, Apple, Google, all that type of stuff. So you can find us anywhere you find them. We're also on YouTube. And don't forget to check out the social media as well, TikTok, Instagram. Have a look, have a listen, and don't forget to leave us a message. We want to hear what you guys want to hear about as well. And definitely make sure we let Simpson know what he made mistakes on. Thank you, Sips. Great episode.
Sounds good. Take care, everyone.